Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. In this episode, we are going to basically spotlight a mod that I like and also use it to do something. It's called ScanSat. That's the name of the mod. And what it does is it allows you to do mapping. Now, what's the big deal about mapping? We've already got mapping in the game. Oh, wow. Yes, we do have mapping stock in the game, but the mapping that's stock in the game is basically like the fingernail of this mapping system's whole hand. I mean, there is a bunch more available in this. Biomes, everything. I mean, it will find little, relic, little thingies, whatever they're called, fragments or whatever. Here, I can tell you right now. Well, let's launch first. But it'll find little secret things, stuff like that, little buildings and little areas and stuff that are hidden or you're supposed to find. Or unknown things. It can show you, it can do resources, it can do everything that the other one can, plus a ton more, basically. Alright, I have set it up. You can't see it now, but you'll see it in space. In fact, let's go back. Let's revert back to the VAB so I can show you the ship. Now, this basic satellite launching system. This is the one that I use and will be in the next episode showing you. Maybe, I don't know. If I do Kerbal, I don't have to do MUN because all of the places are the same. The only difference is the altitudes that you use. Now, I'm using right now a basic launching system. It is the Asparagus 6 rocket setup that I was using in the last episode. I have a different satellite, of course. This one has the multispectral scanner or sensor, which does biomes. You can check it out in science once you open it up. These are tied to the tech tree, but what this one does is this multispectral detects radiation across several infrared, visible light, and radar beams. That gives it the capability to differentiate between terrain types and biomes. Can also detect anomalies. That's the word I was trying to think of. Anomalies, which are structures and items and stuff built on the ground that Squad has added to the mappings, to the maps. So this is basically your go for biome thing. Now you want to get this guy in a polar orbit, a little over or right around, but a little bit more, not less than, but maybe not too much more than 250K. So you want to get about a 250K orbit. Circularized orbit going at about a 90-degree polar orbit. So how do we do that? Well, normally when we launch, we launch left. So to help us with a polar orbit, instead of launching from left to right, we launch north to south. Now you can go north or south, doesn't matter. You can go either way you want to. I prefer to go down, but you can go which is north. You can go any direction you want to go. Polar orbit doesn't matter because you're fighting sideways, basically the way that the planet rotates. So either way is fine. It doesn't matter. So we are all set up to go. Let's go ahead and turn our SAS on. I've got MechJeb installed, but unfortunately I do not have the module to do ascents, and I think it's kind of broken right now anyway. So I am still launching manual. No big deal. All we have to do is hit the space bar. So here we go, folks. Eventually I will switch to MechJeb. I mean, that's just these launches, you do them all pretty much the same. After you've done 50 launches like I have, really getting it into orbit around Kerbal is not much of a challenge anymore. So it's not something that you find you have to really practice. Whoa, wrong direction. Maybe I do need a little practice. All right, let's stop fumbling around so that it sits still because we're about to drop a stage. There they go. Let's just kind of lead this down a little bit. We're doing 200 meters per second already. We're going to shift it over to the right just a little. There we go. There we go. We're just going to keep following it just like a normal launch. We're just going north, towards the north now, along the 0 degree line instead of the, or 360, whichever way you want to call it, instead of the 90 degree line. And then you just keep watching your apoapsis and your timed apoapsis. As long as your timed apoapsis doesn't start decreasing prior to you hitting about 40,000, your apoapsis hitting about 30 to 40,000, you're okay. And there it goes. It's going back up. We're about to have another stage. Come on, baby. She's fighting me just a little bit on this rotation. Sometimes you have to turn the SAS off and on real quick to get it to hold where it's supposed to. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's some sort of glitch. KSP back there. There goes something. I don't know what that is. Getting a little behind the curve here. I'm not following it close enough. I'm letting my time to apoapsis jump out too fast, which means that basically I wasted a little tiny bit of fuel. It's okay though. We're going to kick off this way. Some reason our indicator here, prograde, jumped off to the right of the when it switched to orbit. So I'm trying to lead the prograde marker over just a little bit. And as far as our apoapsis height, you really don't have to worry too much about it, because your apoapsis, you're going to burn it until you're at 250K anyway. So once you get to about 180, 200K, you want to back off then. All right, that should be good. Now we can actually keep burning. Yeah, we're at 55. $230. 251. That'll be good. Now we can go into the map view, come around to our apoapsis, add a maneuver, and then get our periapsis out to 250 also. Just about there. Anywhere between 250 and 255 is fine, but both have to be above 250. 248, 251, 261. 250.3 and 256. 250.2 and 255. That'll be good, and then I can get here and shrink it up just a hair. Let's get that one a little higher. Can we? Yeah, 251's good. Let's line up. And we are in a pretty much straight up and down polar orbit. What is our inclination to orbit? Let's see. Our inclination 89.2. So 90 degrees is perfect. 89, 88, 87, somewhere around anywhere in there will be fine. Basically, if you keep your prograde on that 90 degree marker while you're taking off, and then when you get into your orbit, you will be in perfect for a polar orbit. So you don't really have to adjust much then. Alright, so let's get set up on our marker. And you will use this process for every body, celestial body that you come across. Everything, I believe, except for the sun and Jewel can be mapped. And Jewel might even have some now. I don't know. I really don't know. But Jewel and the sun, I think, are the only two that don't, you know, have, or that didn't used to have biomes. Now that doesn't mean you can't do all the other mapping and scanning and stuff on Jewel. It just means that the biome stuff won't be available. So we're going to wait. We're going to do a 7-second burn. Well, on both sides. $209. I'm burning real slow watching it. 239, 240. We're getting close, really close. 258. We'll have to shrink that, but that's okay. And 251. Alright, that'll work. That'll work. Alright, so this is 260 and this is 251, so we're going to add a maneuver here. And I think we need to shrink it, right? Yes. Whoa. 250. Back up. I wish that didn't go so fast. I wish you... Can you hold shift? No. Shift to speed. Dadgummit. 251, what is that going to give me? 248, 254, 250, and 257. $244. Let's try adjusting this way some. 240 and 257. $243, 254, 251, 245. There we go. 251.4, 251.8. That'll be perfect. Perfectamundo. Yeah, this is the only bad thing about doing YouTube videos on this game, is because all of this stuff takes a lot of time. This is a sit back, relax, and you know, do your thing, you know, game. It's not high paced, high speed, but at least you can see some of the things where I screw up or where I do something right. And if you happen to play the game, then it makes it that much easier when you go to try and do it, because you're like, oh yeah, that's exactly how Zane did it, or I got to remember not to do what Zane did. Either way, you know, because I'm not those guys that only cut out, or that cut out all the stuff and only leave the perfect stuff. I leave my screw ups in here too. Things where I make mistakes and where it just doesn't work out perfect or whatever. Show you how I fix it when I do fix it, if I fix it, or if it needs fixing, that is, and stuff like that. So now we really got to watch these down here, because this ain't going to take much. We're going to shave 20K off this. We'll start burning at about 2, because we're only got to do 13.3 meters per second, which is very, very small. $251 and $255. $252, $251. We're almost perfect. I'm worried that I'm going to start deviating the other now. 251.9 and 251.7. Fantabulous. Alright, so now we get out of the map view. Are we still in a pretty good 90-degree deal? Our inclination is 89.2. We could go all the way up to the top on our or anywhere we wanted to, really. Right here during our... let me get rid of this. We could set this. I think you can't set them as a target anymore. When you're orbiting something, you can't set it as a target. But this is fine. This is fine. So we've got a right deal, right altitude. Let's get out of map. Let's go in. Let's bust these. I thought we already busted those loose. No, we didn't. We got lucky there. Electric charge, 4,000. Yeah, we got a ton of electric. But I did that on purpose because I sent one of these map sats to Mun, and on the back side of the planet I was running out of power. So I've got two of these things and plus all these guys around the top of it to try and help it keep enough juice. Now what I want to do is come around to, come on, get off the dang screen, there we go, to that guy and start scanning. Now when it pops out, I click on this and it will show me right here if my altitude's proper. If it's green or blue-green or whatever like that, a solid, that means I'm good. If it's orange, that means you're too high. If it's jumping between green and orange, green and orange, green and orange, that means you're too low and you need to back off just a little bit. As you can see here, very slowly, we're mapping it out. So what we want to do now is I'm going to leave this guy up here so I can detach and then detach. And I do have a very small, one of those little, whatchamacallits, get off there. One of those, what is this? Spark liquid fuel engine, so that I can make small adjustments with this if I ever needed to. But more than likely I won't need to. And at this point it is safe, I have found, to go up with your speed to as high as 100. If you go anything higher than 100, now we're on the dark side, we're losing power. Let's see if we maintain enough power as we come around. Looks like we're going to, because there's the sun again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, fabulous. So fabulous. Now, Kerbal is a lot larger than Mun is, so this is going to take a little bit longer to scan, but if you watch up here, you can see the scan in progress. So at this point, what's really cool about this mod is that I can exit this. I'm not going to because this is going to be the end of the episode. I'm going to show you a couple maps and stuff like that. But I could exit this, go to the system, go ahead and build another ship, go about doing other stuff, and this thing will keep scanning for me so long as time is moving. It won't scan, it won't do anything while you're in the VAB or the SPH or anything like that. But when you're out on a mission or you're out doing something, it will actually scan. It'll do its thing. So you just let it go. Or you can get up and let it keep running like this and go get you a drink, a sandwich, watch a TV show or something. It takes about 5, maybe 10 minutes or so at this speed, and it will map the entire map. As you can see, it's doing the orbital scan. You can see the little satellite right here doing its thing. When this entire map right here turns white, this grayish color white, you're done. At that point, you can then click on this to open up the big map. Now right here we're on Kerbal, and it's going to be gray. Why? Because the only map type that I've got for Kerbal right now is biome. So if I hit the biome button, it's going to start loading up the biome map of Kerbal. Now we've only done these 1, 2, 3, 4. We're working on our 5th swath now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this thing, when it gets all the way up, now that's all the data that I had was down to there. Even though it goes further, this does not auto-update. You have to hit this little refresh button right here. Now, what are all these buttons? What does all this stuff mean? We're going to go over that real quick. This allows you to choose anything that you've orbited and mapped. Like I have fully mapped Mun. And what it's doing now is it's loading up the map for MUN. It's kind of slow, but it's reading the data. It's an add-on, and this is just the way it works. So you just learn to deal with it. Now this right here is what I'm going to show you is why this is so cool. This is what makes this better, in my opinion, than the other one. One of the big things, but there are a lot of other little things. You can go into colors. You can change all these settings. I'll go over them in just a second. But look down here. When I'm pointing at something, it shows me the biome, Midlands. That is the East Far Side Crater. There's a little biome here called the Canyons. There's a little one right there, the Highland Craters. These are the Midland Craters. More Highlands, Highland Craters, Polar Crater, Southwest Crater, Northwest Crater, Northern Basin. These are all different biomes that I can go to, the Twin Craters, and I can get data from, that I can go get science from. All of these are duplicates. So if I got one from this Highland Crater over here, it don't do me any good to go to this one. But all these different places, and it shows you down here what they are. Midlands, Highlands, you get to see all of the different things, Outland, Polar, Lowlands. These are all different biomes that you can go visit. Now, if you don't like this coloring, you can come right over here, change the color, and you can change all the colors. You can go to biome, and you can change all the different colorings that you want to. You can go to the altimetry, which is the, your altimeter. You can change all of the different colorings from lowest level to highest level. You can change the slopes, biomes, resources colors, ores, which one, change its colors. Each one you can change them all and whatnot. This stuff up here toggles the color on and off. See, that'll get rid of all the color and put it into a pure black and white scan. This right here turns the grid lines on and off. This one right here turns the orbiting line, which shows where we're at if we were there orbiting, but we're not right now because we're on Kerbal. But these lines right here that show what your current orbit is, it'll turn that off. This turns off any waypoints that you've set up. This turns off any anomaly detection, like if it detects anomalies. Like on MUN, there's one from MUN still, an anomaly. That means go visit that place because there's something, it might be something cool there, might be something stupid, but there's something there. This is the flags. Right there's my first return from MUN flag showing up. Things like that show up on the map. This is asteroids, which is for space. And then this is the legend. I don't know what this does because having it on or off doesn't change anything. This one right here toggles resources. I don't have any resources scanned, so it doesn't do anything. This goes back to small map, instrument window, which brings up this showing you your lat and long on the map, where you're at and what biome you're in. This sets up your settings for it. I didn't change anything. Everything seemed to work pretty good right off the way it was, the default settings. And that is ScanMap or ScanSat or SatScan or SatScan. So yeah, it's a pretty cool add-on, guys. I really, really, really like it. I really think it's well worth having. And hopefully we'll get this planet scanned. Now we're in, there are perfect, just so you know, there are perfect inclinations and perfect altitudes that you can use for each one of these planets. But that goes a little bit in depth. I mean, there's a chart that shows you your deviations and the plus and minus, of this, that, and the other, and the error rate and stuff like that. But basically all you got to know is that if the planet travels, if it rotates, which it will, they all do, rotates east to west, or west to east, whichever. If you're going north to south, you're going to eventually map the entire planet, just like I am right here. This map will eventually fill all the way out. Now, it might take another 5 or 10 minutes or however long, but it will eventually map this entire place. You can even be at like a 75 degree inclination or a 94 or whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you're in a polar orbit, going around from the north to the south of the planet, you'll be all right. So, I don't think we're moving, are we? 250, 251, good. Yeah, all right, so that's going to pretty much be the end of this episode. That's all that I wanted to show, and I did show you a full map of MUN, and I'm going to sit here and wait and let this get finished, and then I'm going to check and all the different, like here we can see a couple multi-water, grasslands, shores, deserts, highlands. You know, we can see a lot of it in the polar and the ice caps. And then there's one down here called polar something or another. Or tundra, I think is what it's called. Somewhere. There it is. We found it. Tundra. And that's pretty much all of them anyway. But any little special things, any little, whatchamacallem, the anomalies will also show up. There's one already right there. It found one right there. But any anomalies will show up. There's one up here. And you can just go in a plane and go visit these anomalies and see what's there. Land and then jump out and go run. Because this thing has a lot more. I mean, it shows you landing places. You know, you can set up, like, here, I can go like this. Like, say I want to see a map of that. I can right-click on it. And it's going to bring up a squared-up map of that I can then zoom in on. And we can zoom in some more. 19.5, 24, we'll go into 30. All right, I've zoomed in to 30x on that anomaly. You can click up here and you can set a landing target. Set one right there. And now, I don't know if it puts it on your nav ball or not. I don't know exactly how that works. But it does something cool, I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it does something. But you can use this also. Maybe that just marks it over there. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't read up on the landing thing. But you can set a landing target. Now, I don't know if it does anything to this or not, which would be really freaking cool if it did. That would be really cool. But all right, yeah, I'm just stretching this out with all this jibber jabber. Like I say, map or ScanSat, I think that's the name of it. And but there will be a link in the description. So yeah, look there and it'll take you to it. It's a pretty cool add-on. If you like all this stuff and want to get into all this, see all your biomes, want to go to collect the science, make sure, you know, trying to be a completionist like I do, and you want to get all the, you know, at least get some data, some science from everything that you possibly can, then this would definitely be a good add-on to have to add to your collection. And you can then, you know, go back and check all the biomes, especially with all the new planets and all the new biomes that they've added. There's so much out there that you're going to play hell. In the next episode or the episode after that, I'm going to land on the moon in a rover that I built that's really cool, and then we can go run around on the moon and check all these things, all these different, you know, places, and collect all the data. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.